Imagine a small plane flying across the skies of the Andes in October 1972. On board was a young rugby team from Uruguay, along with their families and friends. For them, it was just another trip, a simple journey to Chile for a friendly match. The cabin was filled with laughter, future plans, and the boundless energy of youth who believed that life stretched far ahead. None of them realized that in just a few hours, their fate would change forever, and the world would witness one of the most shocking survival stories in human history. At first, the plane moved steadily through the clouds. But then, the weather began to turn against them. Thick clouds swallowed the horizon, strong winds rattled the fuselage, and turbulence shook the aircraft as if it were trying to tear off its wings. The cheerful atmosphere inside quickly shifted. Laughter was replaced with silence. Some passengers held hands tightly, others prayed quietly, while a few tried to calm themselves. Suddenly, a loud metallic screech filled the cabin. The engines roared desperately, and in an instant, their world flipped upside down. The plane plunged out of control, smashing into the snowy mountainside with unimaginable force. When the noise faded, there was only silence. Bodies lay scattered across the snow, some lifeless, others barely clinging to consciousness. Those who survived awoke to a terrifying reality. They were no longer travelers heading to a rugby game. They were trapped in a frozen hell, surrounded by endless snow and deadly cold. The first days felt like an endless nightmare. They found only scraps of food, a few chocolate bars, some wine, and bits of biscuits. They rationed carefully, but hunger tore through their bodies faster than they could endure. At night, the freezing air cut into their bones. They huddled together for warmth, but still, one by one, friends and family slipped away into death's silence. Then came a devastating blow. Through a small radio, they heard the news. The search for their plane had been called off. The world believed everyone on board was dead. For the survivors, those words were like a death sentence. They were now completely alone, buried in snow and despair, with no one left to know they were still alive. Hunger soon forced them to face an unthinkable choice. All food was gone. There were no plants, no animals, only the frozen bodies of their friends, brothers, and family members. Tears fell, prayers were whispered, and yet survival demanded the impossible. They made the heartbreaking decision to eat the flesh of those who had died. It was not desire, it was necessity. Every bite carried unbearable guilt, a weight they knew would haunt them for the rest of their lives. As if that horror wasn't enough, the mountain struck again. One night, an avalanche thundered down, burying the wreckage of the plane. Snow crushed their fragile shelter, suffocating those trapped inside. Cries for help echoed in the dark, but when the survivors finally dug their way out, 8 more people were gone, including some of their strongest companions. Hope, already so fragile, seemed to vanish completely. And yet, from within that despair, courage rose. 2 young men, Nando Paradu and Roberto Canessa, decided to attempt the impossible. They would climb over the Andes and seek help, on foot, with frozen limbs, exhausted bodies, and only the clothes they wore. Step by step, they fought against the mountains, snowstorms, and relentless hunger. Each day their feet bled, their lips cracked, and their bodies begged to give up. But on the 10th day, when their eyes could barely open, they saw a shepherd in the distance. That moment was like a divine light piercing through endless darkness. The shepherd rushed to get help, and soon helicopters came slicing through the snow to rescue the remaining survivors. Out of the 45 souls who boarded that plane with laughter, only 16 returned home, after 72 days in the mountains of death. When the truth of their survival became known, the world reacted with shock. Many judged them while others wept. But over time, understanding grew. They were not remembered for what they ate, but for their courage to live when all hope was gone. Nando Paradu, one of the survivors, once said, "I did not eat because I wanted to. I ate because I chose life. What I really consumed was my fear, my pain, and the despair that almost killed me." From this tragedy, humanity learned a lesson that can never be forgotten. Even in the darkest conditions, people can find